From fired to founder, how I beat my former boss at his own game. My name is Alex. I grew up in a small town called Cedarville, nestled in the gentle rolling hills of Ohio. Cedarville was one of those towns you barely notice on a map, a place where everybody knew everybody else, where the diner still had the same menu it had 50 years ago, and the main street was lined with mom and pop shops struggling to keep their doors open. Life moved slowly here. Summers were hot and long, winters cold and unforgiving. The smell of fresh-cut grass in the spring, mixed with the distant sound of tractors in the fields, was as familiar as breathing. Growing up in Cedarville was simple, but far from easy. My father was a mechanic at a local garage. He'd come home every evening with grease-stained hands and a tired smile. My mother worked as a nurse at the town clinic, often pulling double shifts during flu season. Money was always tight, and luxuries were rare. Vacations were something we only dreamed about, and new clothes were bought only when the old ones fell apart. Despite the hardships, my parents made sure I knew the value of hard work, honesty, and kindness. As a kid, I was always fascinated by how things worked. Radios, old TVs, even my friends' game consoles. I loved to tinker, take them apart, and fix what was broken. I wasn't a genius or a prodigy, just curious and patient enough to figure things out. My parents encouraged me, telling me those skills could open doors, even if I didn't have a fancy degree. After high school, I tried college for business administration. It was hard juggling classes and part-time jobs, and the cost was overwhelming. My family couldn't afford it, and I didn't want to drown in debt. So I left after 2 years. It felt like I had failed, but I kept pushing forward. I needed a stable job, so I took a position at the town's only electronics store, Tech Plus. It wasn't glamorous. The floors were scuffed, the fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, and the aisles smelled faintly of dust and plastic. But it paid the bills. I started in the stock room, moving heavy boxes, assembling displays, and cleaning. Over time, I learned every product on the shelves, TVs, laptops, kitchen appliances, and customers started seeking me out for help. The store director was Victor, tall, sharp-featured, always impeccably dressed in suits that probably cost more than my rent. He carried a tablet like a shield and rarely smiled. To Victor, numbers were everything. "How's your sales this week?" he'd ask without a greeting, and if you weren't meeting targets, you were replaceable. People were tools to him, nothing more. I worked hard to meet his expectations, stayed late, learned every sales trick, and did my best. But I saw cracks in the way the store ran. Overpriced items collecting dust, pushy upsells driving customers away, outdated advertising that no one cared about. I had ideas to fix things, but Victor never asked, and the others never listened. Then one day, it all fell apart. It was a quiet Tuesday morning. I was restocking wireless headphones when Victor called me into his office. The glass walls made it feel like a courtroom. He didn't look up from his tablet. "Alex, your sales dropped last month," he said flatly. I tried to explain the shipment delay wasn't my fault, that I was only one sale short. He cut me off. "Business isn't personal. We're letting you go." 8 years of work, gone in a second, no warnings, no chance to fix it. I walked out numb, clutching my final paycheck. Anger simmered beneath the surface, but so did fear. What now? No job, no savings, and a town that knew the news before I even left the building. For weeks, I applied everywhere. grocery stores, warehouses, garages. No luck. The rumors spread. Some believed Victor, some didn't. My reputation felt stained. One night, my neighbor asked me to help set up his new smart TV. As I connected the cables and explained the features, he sighed. "You explained it better in 10 minutes than anyone in that store did in an hour." That moment sparked something inside me. I didn't need a big store. I knew electronics. I could build something on my own. I spent my last $1,200 creating a simple website called Old Contacts, convinced suppliers to trust me on consignment. The first month, I sold just a few items, but I delivered each one myself, wrote handwritten thank you notes, called customers to make sure they were happy. Word spread slowly but surely. Within a year, I was making more than I ever had at Tech Plus. I rented a small office, hired 2 assistants. We worked hard. We treated customers like people, not numbers. 2 years later, Victor's store was struggling. People walked past it to come to mine. I heard he tried sales and discounts, but the damage was done. One afternoon, Victor showed up at my shop, older, tired, trying to mask it with a forced smile. "You've done well," he said. "Thanks," I replied. "Maybe we should merge stores," he offered. I looked him in the eye. "No thanks. But if you ever need a repair, you know where to find me." He left. Months later, his store closed. Now I own the largest electronics shop in the county. I employ 8 people, including my younger brother. I bought my parents a new home and paid off their debts. Life is different, better than I ever imagined. Sometimes I think back to that day in Victor's office. He told me I was dead weight, that I wasn't worth the trouble. I guess he was wrong, because I'm still here, and I'm winning. Thanks for listening to the end. If you like the story, give it a like. Write a comment. I read everyone. And don't forget to subscribe. There are more crazy real stories ahead. See you in the next video. Take care.